that was cheesy. We're talking about mathematical operations. Okay, mathematical operations. Polynomials. So we're going to start with the easiest ones. Okay, addition and subtraction. Addition and subtraction. So it's very simple, but I believe that this will help us. We need to put these in standard form if they're not in standard form. And by standard form, I mean highest exponent comes first, all the way down to a constant term. We need to add our like terms. And here's the biggie that people like to do. The variables and the exponents do not change. When you're adding and subtracting, exponents don't change. They just tell you which ones to combine. So here's what we're going to do. I think this will help us out. With number 1, we need to write this in standard form. So we look for the biggest exponent. The biggest exponent is cubed. So we write -5n cubed first. We don't have an n squared, so I'm going to kind of leave a space there in case my other one has it. Then we've got n, and then we've got -7. Now, since this is a subtraction problem, okay, since this is subtraction, what I'm going to do when I write down the next expression, when I write down its pieces, I'm going to change all their signs. Okay, I'm going to change all their signs since this is a subtraction problem. So I'm looking for the n cubed. It was positive n cubed, so I change its sign. It's negative n cubed. This one also doesn't have an n squared, so then I go to my n. It was positive 6n, so that's negative 6n. And then my constant term was positive 6, so now it's negative 6. So now I'm going to add my like terms. Originally there was a subtraction sign in between, but I changed all the signs, so now I can just add. So -5 plus -1 is -6 n cubed. I don't have n squared. I've got 1n plus -6n. You can do this in your calculator, 1 plus -6, but it's -5n, and -7 plus -13, or excuse me, -7 plus -6 is -13. Getting a little ahead of myself there. All right. There's the answer. Now, go ahead, Casey. Let's look at number 2 here. Number 2 says if the sum of -2n plus 4 plus an squared, what's up with this a right here? Let's keep reading. And -4n to the 4th minus 2 plus 6n squared, okay, that one didn't have any weird letters in there, is -4n to the 4th plus 8n squared minus 2n plus 2. What is a? So we're trying to figure out, well, what is that coefficient right there that will make this true? So keywords. What? Can anybody tell me what a keyword here is in this problem? Sum. Okay, so what does it mean what does sum mean? Add. Okay, so sum means add. So we're adding these two things together and we get this result. So we want to know what a is. Well, a is with the n squared. So we're adding an squared and 6n squared, and we get 8n squared. So an squared plus 6n squared equals 8n squared. The rest of the problem doesn't matter because it's asking me what's a. A's with the n squared. If I'm adding, I only have to worry about the other terms that have n squared in them. So what's a? 2. It's 2. Okay, a is 2 because 2 plus 6 is 8. All right, so that looks like a weird, nasty problem. What am I supposed to do with that? But digest it, okay? Break it down. Look for those keywords. It's talking about the sum. Sum means add. We're adding these two terms together. We can only add like terms, so we only care about the n squared terms because that's the term that had the a in it. Okay? Let's go back to just a normal problem here. We can add and we can combine adding and subtracting. So that's what we've got here in number 3. So still we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put them in order. So I'm going to briefly look through the entire problem, and I'm going to look for what's the highest exponent that we've got. The 5th power, right? Okay, so when I start to write down my first expression there, I'm going to leave myself a space because some of the other parts have a 5th power. So after 5 comes 4, so we've got negative 5x to the 4th. Then we have a cubed, so minus 3x cubed. We're missing a squared, so I'm going to leave myself a space, and then plus 3x and plus 2. Okay, now my second term had a minus sign in front of it. So remember, when it has a minus sign in front of the parentheses, we're going to change all the signs inside that set of parentheses when we write it down. So this one has an x to the 5th. It was negative 7x to the 5th, so it's going to become positive 7x to the 5th. Then we had positive 5x to the 4th, so we change its sign, so it becomes negative 5x to the 4th. This one doesn't have a cubed or a squared, so then we get down to the x. It was minus 2x, so we change the sign, so it's positive 2x. And then we have positive 6, we change the sign, so it's negative 6. Then for the last one was plus, so we're not going to change anything. We're just going to write it down in the order so that we can match things up. So we've got negative 9x to the 5th. We don't have x to the 4th. We do have x cubed, minus 6x cubed. This one doesn't have x squared either. Plus 10x and a minus 8. So all we're going to do is go through and add up our coefficients here. 7 plus negative 9 is negative 2, x to the 5th. Negative 5 plus negative 5 is negative 10, x to the 4th. Negative 3 plus negative 6 is negative 9, x cubed. 3 plus 2 plus 10 is 15, x. And 2 plus negative 6 is negative 4, plus negative 8 is negative 12. Okay, now you can totally use your calculator to work those numbers out. I was just doing them in my head. But do not, when we're adding and subtracting, do not change those variables. The variables just tell you which terms you can combine. They never change when you're adding or subtracting. Okay? And I think it helps when you line it up like this. It kind of helps you keep it straight and see what's supposed to go with what. All right, so